the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information. And
we in.
Yep. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing back everybody. We are Salt of the Streets. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
And we are happy to have you here joining us on our youtube.com/saltofthestreets. We also have our Instagram, our Facebook, and our patreon.com, all at Salt of the Streets. We also have our personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. At Colin is a big boy off you on both of those things. You can find all this at saltofthestreets.com. I want to thank Location Skate Shop and, of course, Swell Blended. If you need a haircut, if you want to watch some gaming, go to Lexi Kayo on Twitch. She was just live last night. She's really getting back after it lately.
She'll be back live again here probably in a couple hours.
Yep. If you need some cakes, go to Leggings and Aprons. Check out the work there. She will be back working in just a few months.
Best cakes.
And that is all. With that, we're going to enter the grab bag. We're talking about farming a little bit. Colin and I are farming, small-scale farming, backyard farming, growing food, self-sufficiency really is probably a better way to put it.
And really, we were talking about kale because kale is legit.
Yeah, it's something that we're getting more into. Obviously, I've done kind of the garden updates for the last 2 or 3 years, probably of some of the stuff that we've grown, and I'll probably do some more of that this year as things get kicking off. We can
talk about gardening. I'm going to grab my plants so I could show them because they're starting to seed.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. We'll probably, I'm sure we'll both do some stuff like that, but that's something we're both getting into. So Colin has his little garden. He's got his seedlings that he's going to get there, and one of Skyrim is on the menu tonight. That's what Lexi Kayo says. So Carolina is going to be streaming some Skyrim. So especially if you're into Skyrim, go and check that out. She's very good, very entertaining. Of course, she's beautiful. So Colin has his plants now. Okay.
Snap.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So let's
Tall boys.
Let's do
Give Colin a solo cam. Look at that.
So you remember last weekend we got together.
Seeds.
We recorded the
review
preview and all that. So be sure to be watching out for that on Sunday. Tomorrow.
Preview.
Yeah, that's going to be out. Amazing. But yeah, I had just planted these right before you had gotten here. And within a week, 90% are like going. I'm like, oh shit, I got to get my act together outside. So tomorrow we're going to be hitting up the Homer Depot and getting a couple last things so I can finish off all the beds and get all these bad boys in the ground here in a few days.
Excellent.
They're starting to get there.
We got a comment on our ad went through, and there's a woman who obviously our ad came up and she left laughing emojis on our ad.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
It's not good. Her Twitter handle is Black Butterfly 7500, and her page says, third page, someone out there or Instagram doesn't like what I say. Hashtag pro-black, a red heart, a black heart, a green heart, pro-black, hashtag pro-black isn't anti-white, hashtag old school music, hashtag sapiosexual.
Oh, sapio.
A wedding ring, hashtag empath, hashtag Pisces, like a circle with a slash through it, a red one, times 4x. I don't know what that means.
It's a lot is what that is.
One of these posts say, all the money white people made from slave labor, you wonder where'd all that go? Okay, so she doesn't like what we have to say.
No, sir. No, we don't.
We said that the radical left is doing all that bad shit. And
that's her.
Yeah, exactly. We have well, we also said that we've been called radical racist, so I'm sure that she's like, y'all motherfuckers are racist. So go out and check our first ad. It's out there on Instagram. We're going to see what that does for us over the next, I think I did $30 for 6 days or some shit. So we'll see what that does for us.
We are literally paying Instagram to send us hate comments.
Yeah. it's awesome. It's so good. But we're out here. So yeah, we're talking about kale.
Yes.
And kale is one of the things we had 2 rows of kale that we started last year just because I do kale shakes. That's my big, I don't really like to eat vegetables that much.
The boy eats kale shakes too, from the sounds of it, right?
Yeah. We share them. So yeah, I don't really like vegetables from being a kid and like being forced to eat them and not liking them. And so I just don't like them as an adult.
Mm-hmm. I fucking love, I have learned to love vegetables, man.
I'm sure.
All of them.
And I'm sure when this shit pops off and all I have is vegetables and rice and like canned chicken, I'll really
bro,
enjoy
I'm a
vegetables.
pro hunter. I'll make sure you have protein.
That's fine. I mean, I'm gonna have to hunt too. And when the shit pops off, I don't care what regulations say. I'm just gonna go capping shit. There's fucking deers that run around keyboard. I don't give a fuck.
And I will need to teach you how to walk through the woods, though.
Oh,
That became very evident that
I'm
both of y'all
so
need some
big.
work.
Oh, it's so bad. I'm so big and Jake is so lanky, you know?
Yes.
Last week, what Colin was referring to, quick aside, this is the grab bag. We're out here. We did some... We're not in the military. Colin was in the military, but we did like some small unit tactics training last week. Went out into some woodsy area that we have, lots of woodsy area around here. And so at first we did some war games type of shit. Had Colin sit up on top of a hill, and Jake and I snuck up on him. He fucking
Murked everybody.
blasted Jake in the back of the face. But I absolutely
I didn't know you were there. I will say
would
that
have
much. I
avenged
did not
Jake.
know.
I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I was not afraid to get down and dirty, and I crawled up half that hill just on my belly. I just proned it up half that hill.
Johnny, come crawling out the
I
back
knew
door.
how big I know how big
legs
I am,
missing.
bro. I know how big I am, so I know that like
And
if
you
I
had
want to hide on this hill,
Did you have your backpack on?
no.
Okay.
I ditched the pack because I know
Pack's turtle shell.
yeah, and I also know that if we were in that same situation, I'm taking that shit off. I don't
Yeah.
need it right now, you know. If I got the plate carrier on, so I have ammunition, I have a med kit, I have things that I need right now. So yeah, we used our radios and we snuck up there. Yeah, Jake got his ass killed, but I would have quickly avenged his death and got the fuck out of there. Used you both as a loot drop and got home. And
Damn.
I would have had to try and take Jake's body back, but and then we did just did some movement.
I
stuff,
like the
but-
fact you're taking Jake's body back, not.
I mean, if you're an enemy combatant, I'm leaving your ass there. I don't need none of that shit. I might hide you somewhere, but I'm
At least
using you as a loot
least
drop
I
when we're
know
moving.
if shit pops off, we're gonna be on the same side.
Yeah,
And-
100%.
100%. So that's good to
I'll
know.
bring you home too.
Yeah, because you're ruthless, apparently.
If it's
That
me,
was,
you know.
It was a good time though, man. It really was.
Yeah, more of that in the future for sure.
That second kind of like operation we did where I was just like posted up.
Yes.
And I was like, can you guys sneak up to the
Through the
hill
woods.
through the woods?
Thick woods.
And I'll just say, you cannot
No.
sneak through the woods.
It's-
But I will teach you. I will teach you, young Padawan, much like I have taught you about the freedom of gun ownership.
You should see how thick that is, bro. It was tough.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I hate fucking hunting in this area because you can't there's no escaping it. It's just gonna be loud.
Yeah.
But there's a few tips and tricks that I can't wait to tell you guys. so.
Yes, no, but it does stand. We were louder than hell. So we will do more work on that for sure. Plants, self-sufficiency. So we did the kale last year, and I didn't know anything about it. I just like kale. So we just did that and did 2 long rows of it in one end of like the U-shaped garden that we have. And it survived all winter, and it produced all winter, and we took kale off of it all winter, and it even made new plants, and that's one of the ones that we gave you. So that's one of the plants you got. Kale, yeah, apparently is just
It's a superfood.
super plant. Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm really
into it.
excited because I have this guy on YouTube that I watch, and he's like a big backyard home gardener type guy, and he taught me about planting companion plants, so like plants that help each other, like
Yes.
and then you're supposed to like intermix flowers and things with different plants, like tomatoes and basil actually are supposed to be like literal bedfellows. You put those together and you put some like I think it's like marigold or something around like that, and that helps for one pollinate, and so you get more fruiting going on, and then you also like something about like the basil keeps like caterpillars away from your fucking tomatoes and shit. Like there's all this cool stuff. So I'm getting super into it, but he did a whole episode on kale, so I watched that the other day, and I didn't realize there's like a shit ton of types of kale.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to like learn more. It sounds so fucked up.
Learn more about kale.
Yeah. And so like I want to know what type of kale that one is, and then I'm gonna learn its flavor profile a little bit when I cook with it, and then because every different type of kale has different flavor profiles.
This is definitely very earthy kale. It's super green. Like, it's very vegetable-y.
Like that.
But I'm into it. It's a very dominant flavor. I don't put that much fruit in my kale shakes anymore. When I first started drinking them, it was like mostly fruit. But now Jordan and because my wife loves me very much, she'll like pre-package them up, in like Ziploc bags.
That's legit. That's a good way to
just
do it.
put them in the freezer. So I'll just put one in the freezer or in the blender with like some yogurt and some green juice, and Dax pumps away on the button a couple of times, and we get after it.
I love it.
So yeah, it's probably 90% kale and like 10% fruit, just
That's
to
good.
add a little bit of.
Because fruit it's got so much sugar in it, man. That's the problem with fruit.
Yes, and
It's
I put
so
a
much
bunch of
sugar.
yogurt in there because it was started as like a stomach thing. It was like to help my stomach, and then
Yeah, I
was
remember
like,
back in the day.
And I was like, oh wait, this is also just a really good way for me to get vegetables in. So I probably have a kale like every other day, just to get a big dose of But
I feel like it's a better option than going like there's like that supplement powder.
yeah,
The green machine. I don't remember.
And
What
I
it's
might
called,
do
but
that too. You know,
I do that too, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I'd rather get it from like shit that's literally growing in my backyard,
Right.
because that is the most self-sufficient way. It with inflation going on and fucking food costs going on, and fucking food shortages on the way, according to the fucking goddamn president of the United States. Like, I would love to be like making fucking kale shakes versus adding some kind of supplement powder. You know?
Yeah,
Like
and
being
the
able to
other-
bring that back and have control over that aspect of my life, and why I got in hunting, so I can control that, and more ability to detach myself, I guess, from the system of reliance I have, like with the government and shit.
And
so
the
it's
other side
nice.
of the garden is that whole strawberry patch.
Yeah.
So it's all, one side is all strawberries, one side is all kale. There's two.
So you've
tomato
got a kale
plants
shake in your backyard,
Yeah, yeah.
minus the
there's-
milk and shit.
There's one side of the kale bed that has like 2 tomato plants, but that's it. All the rest of it is kale. There's probably 20 kale plants just all ganged up together.
Oh, that's legit. Are they all the same kind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can check them out when we're there. When you
Yeah.
just when we're there. Yeah, no, it's legit.
I feel like I can picture them in my mind.
Yeah. They're
I've
huge
seen
now.
them before.
They're huge.
Yeah, that's legit. So anyway, other than kale, what else?
Yeah, no, we have the peas this year. We have pumpkins again. Jordan every time she's like, I want to have a pumpkin farm. So Jordan wants some pumpkins. But yeah, the peas. We have some radishes too. And
I don't fuck with the radishes anymore.
Jordan likes radishes. Her grandma likes radishes too. And then we have like some cucumbers because of the baby. Most of the stuff that comes out of the garden, the baby will be able to eat eventually. So we'll put all most of that stuff in the freezer and then make baby food out of it.
Oh hell yeah!
So all the squash and stuff like that's a really good like first baby food.
Yeah, I
It's just
totally forgot
pureed
about
squash.
Yeah, squash. I'm trying. Do we have anything that? So I got 2 different types of tomatoes going on. I got a squash going on. I got cucumbers because I'm planning on making pickles this year.
And Jordan will love that.
Oh man!
Jordan loves pickles.
And this is the first year I'm doing Brussels sprouts. So I got.
I'm into that.
I got
They're growing like a weird stalk.
Yeah, I got 4 Brussels sprout plants going on
Those
right
are
now.
going to be so fire.
Yeah, and then I got beets going on this year, like a multicolored thing going on. So we'll have beets going on.
We have
tomatoes.
carrots too.
Carrots are legit. Yeah, I didn't even think about carrots this year.
Multicolored carrots.
But, peppers, like bell peppers, jalapenos, pole beans, and then I got those peas
Yeah.
from you guys.
And those are legit too.
And I got a fucking atrium set up now. Like it connects to my shed in the backyard, so I'm gonna put the fucking peas and the beans, all the climbers, up on that trellis.
Yeah.
That creates an archway next to my shed.
Yeah.
It's gonna be legit.
The peas I have a wood structure that goes over the top of the garden, and then I put strings down for the peas to grow up because they grow on the long vines like that.
Yeah.
But
I decided all of a sudden I wanted to make a Salt of the Streets gardening salty short this week, so I've just been like making sure we keep talking about this.
Yeah, no, I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. We got lots of good stuff. Like I said, I think we'll probably both be doing some garden updates and stuff over the next few months.
I think so. Especially because
tell us what you guys are gardening too. We're absolutely interested. What are you guys growing?
100%. Like, because I feel like this is really
Tips,
important.
tricks.
It's the whole self-reliance aspect of things. Like, if you're not taking in that level of personal responsibility, like you do need to be like trying whatever way you can. I follow a dude on YouTube. He does this like backyard gardening thing out of LA. And so everything is like a custom, just raised bed that sits there all alone. And he's all about self-sufficiency and stuff. And I think everybody should be doing that, man. It just doesn't seem like a bad idea if you want to be less reliant.
One thing you can
on the
do,
system.
It's super easy, is potatoes. You can grow potatoes in a trash can.
Oh, I got potatoes going on right now, actually.
Yeah, we have a trash can that that's super easy. If you just buy a cheap ass trash can and poke some holes in the bottom of it, just put some soil and some potatoes, cut up some potatoes or wait until they grow, and then put them in there.
Yeah.
And then as the greens grow, you just keep covering them up with soil and they just grow more and more and more potatoes off of there. And at the end of the season, you dump it out onto like a tarp or just into the yard and just pull all the potatoes out.
And you know what else you can do with that is when you have those potato and yams essentially do kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like those root vegetables, I'd have to check which ones there are, but like there are, again, companion plants, another vegetable that you can plant that more or less just kind of deal with the surface area. And so the potatoes grow and you just have to kind of keep them controlled a little bit so that the other vegetables can grow. But then you can harvest in the same area 2 different vegetables, a deep root one and something that grows on the surface. I think like radishes and shit work good with potatoes and all that. But like that's like if I can use that knowledge to have me spend less money, to become less reliant on the existing like system, it makes me that much more like resistant towards catastrophe, I guess. And it's the same reason we're out there doing fucking drills and, you know, it's all for fun and it's a hobby, but it's also a good skill to pick up.
I'm realizing every year that we do this, just how much I enjoy this, you know?
Yeah.
Like I would love to
just do this every day.
I would be a farmer, bro. I would totally do that. I would 100% own a farm. And
we should talk to Ivan again more about farming.
Yeah, I would do that. I would absolutely do that.
That sounds legit, dude. I mean, yeah, it's weird. Like, for as like a liberty loving person I am, like I'm super into like the idea of a legit small commune, like a collective of like, you know, half a dozen families, you know, maybe a dozen if you're getting real crazy, but like self-sufficient little fucking commune that just takes care of everything. Like I'm into that. Yeah, that seems weird considering I'm like I'm like an individual freedom person and all that. But if that's your moral, man, that's where you want to be at.
One of the cool things about our friends in the trades, they pour concrete everywhere. So they pour concrete everywhere.
That's right. They've been doing that since the Roman time.
You know, son, you know who we're talking to. you know. So okay, we can hit our first proper grab bag topic. Yes. That was good though. Farming is always good. So yeah, let us know what you guys are growing. Any tips, tricks, stuff like that. Eggshells. You have like slugs and stuff like that. Oh yeah. One of the things we use, like just bake the eggshells, crunch them up around the edge of the garden.
Before we move on, because this isn't quite a full clip yet, probably getting close, but I love breaking the fourth wall. You have an issue with chickens, from what I hear from your wife.
No. I don't have an issue with chickens. I prefer ducks.
You prefer ducks.
Yeah, I don't have an issue
That's
with chickens.
A thing.
I prefer ducks is where I'm at. My push is always for ducks. I find ducks generally to be friendlier creatures. The eggs are a little bit bigger. They produce just as many eggs, and I just find them to be more pleasant to be around.
Well, I will say I can't argue against any of those points. And the eggs are slightly bigger too, which I like. And they're slightly a different taste, which I like too. But a duck is a cleaner animal, man.
Yeah.
Chickens are fucking gross.
I prefer ducks.
Ducks are still nasty as fuck. But I say the big difference though.
You can handle a duck easier than a chicken, I think.
100%.
Like you can pick it up easier.
Well, they have a rounded or flat bill
versus
like a fucking.
You up as much.
Like I used to be a T-Rex or a raptor
for it to like really get at you.
Yeah. But I would add that when it comes to the other use of the livestock, like the actual eating of the protein portion, like you can't, I mean, I love duck. I do love duck, but not everybody does.
No.
But everybody likes fucking chicken.
Like that. And right? You can't eat a duck all the time like that.
So that would be like, well, you got to have some chickens too to offset some shit. But
I would do it. Yeah. No, it's never. When I was young, my aunt's ducks used to chase me. They're definitely still animals. They're still savages. There's no doubt about that. But we had a couple of ducks when I was in high school. I was younger than that. I was in like elementary school. But they were chill. We had 2 ducks. I'd found them to be very chill. And my aunt had chickens and stuff. I found those to be very. They're dinosaurs. They're scarier, you know, for kids and adults, and they'll get after you. They're just scarier. Ducks are more chill, I think. But You're right. I think chickens probably produce faster than ducks too. You know,
I believe so. Yeah. But I will say, when it comes to
the eggs are good for baking and stuff, though.
The eggs are great, man. Yeah, you can't beat a duck egg.
No, I've eaten many scrambled duck eggs. They're fire.
Yeah, they're so good. Yeah, and they have the shape of the egg is way different. But anyways, now we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go any further than that. Yeah, we could talk about ducks and chickens.
Yeah, no issues. So no issues with chickens. I just prefer ducks, but I would have chickens. I would do that.
Okay. And then I'll bring you some goat milk, and we'll make some cheese and shit. We'll be
I would have goats too. I would do that. Goats are lit, you know.
I think one year, before we got rid of the milking cow, I made some mozzarella. wants
That's
out of
what you were
like
saying.
fresh
Yeah.
fucking fresh goat's milk. You just need like this enzyme thing or whatever and
Yeah.
some cheesecloth. And it's different though. Like you got to get used to like if you've never like fucked with like real raw milk.
Yeah.
It's not you ain't gonna pour it over your Cheerios.
Right.
We'll put it that way. But man, once you make that thing, like you could taste like the grass the cow ate. Like when you're eating this fucking mozzarella cheese and you're like, man,
And
what
I
is
love
the deal?
I love cows as an animal. I think that they're just adorable, beautiful.
They are
animals.
awesome.
They're disgusting, but they're also like adorable, beautiful animals. I think.
Yeah.
So I would love to have like a dairy cow, like as a pet almost, and then also have, a rotating cow whose name is like beef or things like that we don't get attached to.
Yeah.
That is there for a while and then he's gone,
Yeah.
and then another one comes that is small, and
Yeah.
we name him Sirloin, and then
Sirloin.
yeah, he hangs out for a while, and so I would do that.
Oh man. It's a different thing, man, especially when people don't know where their food comes from. People don't know, man.
Yeah.
Once you've taken the life of another animal and then, prepared it from the minute you killed it to the minute you put it on the table, like there's a different relationship that you have with that food, and it's with that whole animal. Like I can personally attest that ever since I was hunting, like I've never looked at animals the same. Like those,
That's what I'm
there's
trying to go
those
hunting,
that, yeah, we need to get you that little hunter safety permit so that we can take you out. But it's just it's like a carnal experience. It's very spiritual or religious, maybe some people might say. Like it changes everything. The minute you go from, hey, that's an amazing, beautiful animal to, okay, now it's dead and I'm putting my hand in its warm guts and then preparing it for my sustenance and things like that. It's a weird life-altering experience.
I was thinking about that on the way here, as weird as this is, about that particular thing, about like breaking down on it. I was listening to Remy Warren, that's why I was thinking about it. And I was thinking about like, oh my God, what do you, like, if you're not gonna keep the head of a deer, like, what do you do with it? I'm like, you have to cut its head off because you're gonna take the neck meat. And like, fucking cut a deer's head off. So I was just thinking about that. I'm like, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna just
It's a weird deal, man.
fucking cut its head off. That's just a weird. That's wild. You
gotta cut the head off.
but you got to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're gonna. So
Or if when my brother shot his deer a couple years ago, he had in mind like a way he wanted to have it mounted, right? And so you do what you call like a shoulder mount or something like that. So like when you're butchering the animal, all of a sudden you get to a certain point, you're like, hey, I got to be really careful. I got to retain a certain amount for the taxidermist to deal with. And I'm telling you, I got really jealous because I wanted to get that tongue and pull it out because the tongue meat, because tongue meat is legit, but you got to have that because you got to get out through the neck and all that. So you got to save all that stuff. But it's a wild experience, man. It really is. Like people don't understand.
yeah,
If you have never killed and butchered an animal, like you will never understand truly to have like the actual respect that you probably should for the food that you eat if you're a
Right.
meat eater.
And
Like
that's-
you just don't. You don't understand what the animal's experience is like. But when you're right there, man, you see that thing like in your scope and you're looking at it and it's alive 1 minute and then you shoot it and then you go over there and I mean, it sounds like all woo woo and spiritual, but like I do the avatar thing and I'm like, I'm thanking this animal for like giving me what it was because I'm admirer of nature anyways. And so like, I love seeing like deer run around and all this shit, but like, I got to get by, I got to do what's up. And you're below me on the food chain, dude. I'm sorry.
right.
But I'm going to respect you as I do this because I know what it does for me and my family and stuff like that. So
So I just thought about this, and I want you to hold me to it, and that's why I'm going to say it on the show.
Sure.
Within a year from the day that my daughter is born,
okay.
right, I would, because I'm going to be in the room and everything, and we're doing it at home, right? So I'm going to be right next to Jordan when she gives birth. I'm not going to watch because I don't want to watch, but I'm going to be right there.
Did you watch the first time?
No, she had she had a C-section the first time.
Okay,
So
okay.
I was
Different
peeking over
deal.
and I have pictures like of over the curtain and stuff like that. But yeah, there was a nurse
mind
that was
fuck.
taking pictures, so she's the one that dictated.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's great. You can see Jordan's guts like on the table. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll show you.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy shit. And so from a year from the date that my daughter's born, I would like to have either killed and butchered or taken part in butchering a deer, so that
Okay.
I can have experienced the beginning of life and the end of a life.
Okay. So I'm working this out in my mind real quick because there is logistics and mechanics that come with
It'll
that.
be May to May. That'll likely be. It'll be.
Which means this is the year. This is the year. This is the season you're going to get out there. So I'll hook you up with everything you need beforehand, and then I got you covered on the outs. So you might have to procure yourself a rifle, but then again, I also don't mind handing my rifle to somebody to shoot. That's people do that shit all the time. So, I'm sorry,
That's what I want.
slight
I think
fanboy
that,
right now. I think this is entirely possible.
and I think this is the year for it.
Yeah.
I think now is the time, if I'm going to be there to truly experience like the proper beginning of life with as little medical intervention as possible, because there's no drugs involved. It's just midwives and us. That's it. So if I can be there for that, then I also would like to be there for the ending of life and the dealing with that. That's what I would like. I think that would be really good.
This is good because this is probably our last Western
Here.
hunting style.
Yeah.
You know, this is probably going to be my last season here. So that's good. This is a
is
good
the
time to
time.
do it because
Yeah.
this is a one of a kind experience that you can have in the Western region. So this is the time. I'm excited.
There you go. Unplanned grab bag.
I'm fucking overly excited.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh, yes, because I have everything I need. This is how I trained John, bro. I had everything of a backup minus John just went whole hog and just bought everything anyways. But I got everything a non-hunter would need to go into the backcountry and successfully hunt an animal. I have it all ready to go. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of shit. You know, I got some clothes.
Oh, yeah, and you're halfway there already.
Yeah, I got a bunch of belt and load bearing equipment and stuff already. So I need a better backpack. That's really my And let's say
But that's not the hunting backpack you'll take. There's a specialized hunting backpack. It's better for hunting versus like backpacking and shit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to find
Humanely
wait.
acquired, of course. Absolutely.
Of course.
That's the whole. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, actually. You know, and it's a whole thing. I don't want to get into that. That's
I got
hunt
the pistol. I
baiting
got
and
that
stuff
big
like
ass
that.
sidearm. You know, I'm too scared to go into the woods without a fucking big
Almost.
ass pistol on my hip.
When I was at Sportsman's the other day getting these fucking boots and my new knife replacement finally, I almost bought some slugs for my shotgun. Because you can hunt deer with slug shotgun, but
You just got to be real close.
yeah.
Not real
And
close,
I'm like,
but-
in this area, you know how fucking loud it is when you
gotta
move
be
through the
real
bush, bro.
close
You got to be
anyway,
real
yeah.
close. So I'm like, it might not be a bad idea. Where is I'm just getting my stuff pulled
you're
up
good.
for
So the first proper topic, we will Russia update. Let's restart there.
Sure.
Is that the easiest way to go about it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So
At this point, it's a grab bag topic until something major else happens.
yeah, I mean, it's there are things going on there. It's still something to pay very much attention to. This is part of the topic of my newsletter this week, or of my article in the newsletter this week. So there are kind of some major points or some of the major points that we can hit here. Largely, the fighting seems to be focused again in the two regions that have already been acquired essentially by Russia. So it's focused along the border. There's been some bombing by the Ukrainians on the border of Russia and Ukraine, and so now there's some questions about that. Is this still defensive? Is it offensive? The United States provided some of the coordinates and targeting data for the airstrikes that went on the border, so there's a lot of questions again that kind of edge us closer and closer into an active conflict with Russia. General, what's his name? Secretary of Defense
Lloyd
Austin. Lloyd Austin. I can never remember his first name. I always feel like Austin is his first name.
Once I realized it was one of those like names, I'm like, oh, it's Lloyd. Yeah, I don't know many Lloyds, but it seems like an old name.
Lloyd Austin. He said that the conflict is obviously, growing in intensity. We've had what appear to be calls for active involvement of U.S. forces by senators here. What's his name? Chris Coons, I think his name is. Right? Yeah. He's talking, saying this will only end when the United States makes it end. And I mean, so it sounds to me, and like a lot of other people, like he's actively calling for United States to be actively involved in the conflict in Ukraine, which I think is a horrific mistake.
It's a bad idea, man.
Yeah, we had just yesterday or the day before the first American citizen killed in Ukraine. He was a United States contractor. There's a lot of question about this, obviously. A military contractor that did not have a contract in Ukraine but volunteered to go fight in Ukraine. There's obvious question about that. I don't.
There's a dude on Twitter I got bookmarked. He went over there just to fight. And he's a former. Same kind of a similar deal, but this is not the guy we're talking about, though.
No,
but there's Americans over there.
But there's question, obviously, whether or not that's true, or if there are military contractors that are operating in Ukraine and are just not. It's just not being talked about because they're United States citizens. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past anybody. I'm not guessing either way, but there is question about that.
Yeah, and I mean, and no fault about that either, because obviously anybody legitimately can do that. There's proper channels to go through, and then there's actual like volunteer regiments and stuff in Ukraine.
For the defense of Ukraine or whatever it's called. Yeah, you can literally volunteer and go and fight in Ukraine. They will strap you up with whatever they can give you and send you over there.
Yeah, whatever the UN can give you, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is where the problem lies.
Gas has been cut off by Russia to Poland and Bulgaria, and there is dispute over how they're going to pay. Russia is demanding that they pay for their energy in rubles. There are foreign sanctions, obviously, that mandate that they pay for it in dollars, and they're refusing to do so. And it's interesting that this happened because of the conversation we had with the Gator Brothers the last time we were here, right? This wouldn't seem to have made much sense, but when you know, that Russia has backed the ruble in gold, they want more gold.
Yeah.
They want more of their currency because their currency is what is actually worth something, and they're making sure that it's worth something.
Yep.
So it seems to the rest of the world that it's like a very petty thing. They're like, oh, they just want their own money because they can't have the dollars. No.
That's not the way it is, man.
Because they're backing their currency in gold, and it's actually worth something, and our money is not. Our money is actively being devalued by inflation, by stagflation, by the rest of the world, by people moving off of our dollar as the petrodollar, and Russia is sitting and fucking laughing while they do it.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of the funnier aspect of this funny, like in obviously a dark manner, but when you look at the moves financially that Russia's been making, it is just, we're talking like we're getting shot in the kneecap over here, man. Like our economy is taking a hit because of some of the things that Putin is doing.
And theirs is bouncing back already.
But that does not mean that this is Putin's gas hike and stuff like that. That's not
Putin's inflation.
That's the problem, is that there's a hair of truth in this fucked up term that they use for the reason why our inflation is so bad. But it's definitely an aspect of things because massive disruption when you have a nation like that you won't do trade with anymore or won't trade in your own currency that you've relied on for decades and decades, and then you have other neighboring nations, like other trade partners that are no longer doing business in your currency anymore. That's a massive hit to the American economy at that point, because we are such a globalist society at this point when it comes to like open markets, especially commodity markets, we'll put it that way. But it's no surprise that it's an aspect. There is that small grain of truth that's attached to that term that they use, and it's watching what is happening now with the gas cutoffs and things like that. It's going to be a very interesting thing to keep an eye on, because there is going to be massive economic fallout throughout the entire European bloc at that point.
Right.
It's none of this is good, man. It's like there's this weird kind of hot warfare going on the ground with the Ukrainian forces and the volunteer forces, and the UN is funding it up the ass. Joe Biden just asked for another $33 billion the other day from Congress.
British SAS is on the ground actively training Ukrainian soldiers.
You talked about that in your piece this month.
Yeah, and we've talked since this began that I firmly believe, everything I know about the United States government and the United States military, that there are United States military assets on the ground in Ukraine assisting either in training or at the very least targeting acquisition, the same thing they're doing in Yemen, right, with the Afghans, that they are providing information, they're just consulting, right? I feel very, very strongly that there are, and I am fully prepared in 20 years from now to be vindicated by learning that is the truth.
Yep.
And if you ask me, the articles and the information that British SAS is on the ground is damn near confirmation that the United States is already on the ground there. I do not for a second believe that we would allow British SAS to beat us there. The Green Berets, absolutely not. We're not going to let some fucking foreign legion, some other foreign defense force
Not
beat
happening.
the Green Berets there to be training people because we're the best. If they want to win, they need America. That's why we're giving all this money, is because they need America. They need our intelligence. We're the best in military. That's why they need us, right? So, no, I don't buy it for a second. I absolutely think that there are Green Berets or special forces on the ground there assisting in what's going on. I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah, I think with our track record for decades and decades and decades at this point, I think it would be too much of an ask to ask that you don't factor that in at this point. I mean, all the way you talked about in the piece, like the Ho Chi Minh and like the involvement in like Burma and Vietnam
in the 40s.
In the 40s, dude. There's a great movie about that, by the way, with Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, in 45.
Yeah.
We had OSS troops in Vietnam working with what would become the Viet Cong to help defend themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you know who Gina Lola Bridgedal is.
I've heard that name before.
At Bennett's.
Yes.
Yeah. And she stars in that movie along with Frank Sinatra. It's called Never So Few, based off of a novel. But it's all about, the OSS being over in China and in Laos and shit in the fucking 40s, man.
No, I don't buy
It's
it for a
wild.
second. Absolutely. And it's so weird because they were open communists. Like, they were open communists, and we were like, anything to fuck Japan. Like, anything to fuck Japan. That's fine. Whatever you got going on, that's cool. Anything to fuck Japan. That's all that really matters right now.
Yeah, we didn't really turn against the communists until after we had defeated the fascists
So
and the imperialists.
short-sighted. Just so short-sighted. We're like,
Right.
it's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
You hate Japan, though, right? Okay, cool. That's what matters to us. You hate Japan, though. That's just so crazy.
It's so crazy, man.
We elected people who were like, yeah, definitely. It's so stupid. So stupid.
Oh, yeah, we got a real good track record with foreign policy, man. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the reason we're the world's police, right? We do so good at it.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't buy it for a second. I actively believe and would defend to anything that we have special forces operations there. Even if you're talking about if you want to do the government and split hairs, and they took people from special forces and they had them resign from the military, and now they're part of the CIA, and they have them over there like that. Eat my dick. That's the same thing.
Shit.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing. If you got CIA agents over there, you have military or intelligence assets. So they're all expanded. Military or intelligence assets on the ground there assisting in the fighting in Ukraine. I don't buy it for a second.
Yeah.
And if one of those motherfuckers dies, we're in there. If you lose an intelligence or military asset, we are in there. I don't buy it for a second. And we will be there until this is over.
Yeah.
And this battle of wills, I feel like that's the best way that it can be described. Is it's if you enter into this with Vladimir Putin, it's a battle of wills. And he's not going to give up. He's not going to be like, I'll just roll over, He feels that his way of life is being threatened. This is a battle of wills. It will become a battle of attrition, and he don't give a shit.
Nah, man. Russia has historically never given a shit about battles of attrition.
No.
They will last.
He does not care, and we do. And as soon as the numbers start to tick up, we got to 2,300 in Afghanistan. We're like, no way. We're not having it. 60,000 in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right? 60,000 soldiers in Vietnam. 2,300 in Afghanistan. And we weren't having it. At that point, there were protests. There were people who had yellow ribbons on their cars, on their houses, on their everything. At half that. There's no way, bro. We are not going to stand for that now. I don't care if there are however many billion people on it in this country. No, 330 million people. No, there's no way.
No,
not even 2,300. We're not doing it.
No, I don't think so.
No, the country won't have it.
Man, and that, time will tell.
So I'm saying, do you want to lose a war? Do you want to enter into a war that you're going to definitely lose because you're not willing to pay the cost that it will demand?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. How many people have successfully waged a land war in Europe? All of zero? After unknown number of attempts, like it has never worked out. That's part of the reason Russia has been able to maintain its vastness over the time. The terrain is not fit for fighting. It's not a fighting country, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking most. It's a separate continent.
Yeah.
It's on the same landmass. Why is Europe and Asia different?
It's on two continents.
It's because Russia's on it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lit.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, obviously it's an ever evolving situation, and literally things can go sideways at any point. So, but that's kind of basically everything I knew. The major movements in Ukraine, Russia right now. So
let's talk about this because I know that you're hot about it. Taylo Lorenz and Libs of Tik Tok.
Yes.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Right? Obviously, we've had a few beers. We're getting there. It's
we're getting there.
So it's a good thing we do the grab back at the end of the show.
Exactly. I was like, I have one more. My mouth is
Libs
getting dry.
of Tik Tok, right? If anybody doesn't know what Libs of Tik Tok is, it is an account on Instagram and Twitter that frequently takes, obviously, videos from TikTok from leftists who are talking about commonly like gender ideology and things like that, and repost them. The different drag videos. What's that one there?
So this is a Pennsylvania teacher hosts a drag show event for students as part of a GSA club. Parents were reportedly not notified. The district has confirmed this morning that the teacher is on leave. That's one example.
Those are drag queens?
Here we go. Yeah, those are drag queens right there. So, I mean, very talented. I'm not going to lie. I definitely couldn't do that.
Ask for days on the drag queens.
Got to do them squats, baby. Works both ways. The
Equal
adults are back in
opportunities here at
charge.
Salt of the Streets.
Yeah, I do love this one. So, there we have our new, the head of the Ministry of Truth, which we'll eventually talk about.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious video.
That's it. And then I think we remember this when the TikToker, I think it was a TikTok star, somebody like a big influencer person went to the White House for a day.
Yeah, and he was in Jen Psaki's office.
Yeah. And, of course, the old man Biden there. So, yeah, here we go. This is a school librarian. And these people just post their TikToks, and then Libs of TikTok reposts them. And, generally speaking, it's like one of those...
There's some commentary.
Liberal posts their L's, or AOC posts her L's accounts.
Defiant L's.
Yeah, Defiant L's is a fantastic account. But the story being from the Washington Post. Oh, wait. There's the Washington Post story. Written by none other than our friend Taylo Lorenz over at the Washington Post, former New York Times tech writer.
I love that Joe Rogan is... Like, why? Why is Joe Rogan on the picture of this story?
Where's Joe Rogan on the picture? Oh, there he is.
Right there.
There's Joe Rogan.
Why is Joe Rogan involved in that at all?
I think that's
because he's talked about Libs of TikTok?
Yeah, I think so.
Like
TikTok, yeah, and then Tucker, and then what's that guy's name?
That guy's name is Jesse Waters.
Waters.
Okay, so check this. At Trenton's dad's funeral, I walked in. I was dressed up. I was in like a very nice purple shirt, and I had my tie on, and I had like a nice like a pea coat. I was dressed very nice, right? It's Archie's funeral. I wanted to dress very nice. It's my best friend's dad. So I got there, and he was also in like a Christian biker club, and so there's some older guys that were in that club, and they were giving out this bracelet and some other stuff, like signing a hard hat and some stuff like that. So I stopped over there, and one of the guys, he said, "You look like Jesse Waters, man." I said, "What?" And he said, "You look a lot like Jesse Waters. See, you're tall like Jesse Waters. You look like Jesse Waters, man." And I didn't know who he was talking about at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. And then once I looked up his picture, I knew exactly who he was talking about, but I didn't know him by name. But so if you think about me with my hair done, like kind of like this, but a little bit shorter, and
you know what? Let's pull up some other Jesse Waters here real quick.
Yeah. So it's not. I wasn't happy about it, but it's not a bad comparison. Like, it's not bad,
Yeah, no, you can't hate that. He's a handsome man.
If you were gonna hire a Donovan Phillips impersonator, like, he would be a decent pick.
Yeah, he would go good playing you on SNL.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that level.
It wasn't something I was happy to be compared to, but I understood what he was getting at.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
That's Jesse Waters apparently is my celebrity lookalike, according to this old Christian biker. Yeah.
How old would you say? 60s, 70s?
Oh, he was probably in his late 60s. Yeah, he was up there for sure.
I would say, isn't it funny that when I say old, I start at 60s? I'm like 60s, 70s, 80s. I think that seems right.
Is like, when you're in your 60s, you're definitely starting to get old.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
You can still hit the gym every day and be in super good shape. You're still starting to get old. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
If the average lifespan is only like 79, you're definitely starting to get old. You know?
That's
I
a
think
good
if
point.
you started at 50, I would be like, ooh, that's kind of fucked up. But, I think 60 is reasonable.
Oh my gosh. All right, so let's go back to the original
Yeah, Taylo
post about
Lorenz.
this, right? This is what happens. Taylo Lorenz, who is just a clusterfuck of a human being, tech writer now for the
Right.
Washington Post.
You said she's been writing hit pieces for a
Long time,
right?
man. Yeah, you can actually just Google Taylo Lorenz New York Times articles,
Yeah.
and they have her whole archive there, and you can go back and you can read all of it, and the other times that she doxed
She
people.
said I used to watch them all the time when Bill O'Reilly was
Yes,
on.
that's right.
Waters World.
Waters World, bro.
That's what it's called. Waters
That's what
World.
it was.
He has his own, yeah.
But yeah, this is and I sent this to you the other day or last night or this morning or something like that. So it was a sponsored post on my Twitter feed, and
that's
it's
why
the
you can
same
read it?
story that originated where Taylo Lorenz doxed
Right.
directly in this post, Libs of TikTok, the account Libs of TikTok, the owner behind it.
And that's how this came about, right? Like I said, she's been writing hit pieces for a long time.
Yes.
And a few weeks ago, she was being interviewed by some news channel. I don't remember what it was, talking about online hate.
Yes.
And how aggressive it's been and how she's been targeted, and she starts crying. She's crying on national television.
dude.
She's very upset. Everyone has their own emotions. It is what it is. But,
Yep.
not 3 weeks later, she writes an article in which they actively dox the person because Libs of TikTok was anonymous prior to
Yeah,
this.
that's how the world knew the account was. It's just an account named Libs of TikTok. There's
Yes.
no personally identifying information.
There has been some dispute that I think is spurred through misunderstanding that people are saying like, oh, they didn't even dox her. Like, okay.
Yes.
So let's start there,
'Kay.
right? That I believe they did dox her,
They did.
especially in the original article.
Yes.
Because in the original article, which you can still find in what is like archives, right? You
Archive.
can still find in the archive article her home address and where her business is, and her name is still in there, right? They removed apparently the links to her home address and her business address, but the name of the person who owns the Libs of TikTok account is still in the article.
Yes.
And-
And her business license, her real estate license, and her home address.
And Washington Post is trying to, not in the article that's available now, in the archive you can still get to her
We're
home
gonna
address
show
and
you
all that
how to
stuff,
do
right?
that.
But the Washington Post has since tried to lie about that and
Yes.
say they did not dox her and that Taylo Lorenz would never do that because she's a reputable journalist and we all trust her and she's always on the up and up and would never do anything like that, even though she did. And then Taylo
Yes.
Lorenz tried to go on what's his name, Brian Stelter's show and redefine doxing, that she's like, well, it actually means releasing personal information with malicious intent. No, bitch, you put her personal information out there that wasn't out there before. You doxed her.
Yep.
I don't care how you want to define it to try and cover up for your own actions. You put her home fucking address on the internet.
Yep.
You doxed her. You absolutely did that. And with
Period.
malicious intent.
Yep.
So fuck you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so bad, man. And I'm just to you can do this on your own. You can confirm that this is true on your own.
We're not going to show you this woman's address
No.
because that would be fucked up.
But I'm going to show you if you just go to Google
Show you how to prove that the Washington Post is lying sacks of shit.
and you just look up Internet Archive, right? And then you just go to archive.org. And then you can go to the Washington Post story, the current one, and you copy that address. And I think I just switched it over to the other one. There we go. And then you just copy, paste, right into the thing, go. And there's all sorts of different options here, but oh, wait a minute. Search, text, contents. Oh my gosh, I haven't done this in a minute. It was so much easier a second ago. Here we go. Paste, go. Oh, come on, buddy. Oh, you gotta sign in. This is different. I haven't been here in a second.
Uh-oh.
Oh, son of a bee. Okay, we're gonna abort mission.
Uh-oh.
So,
Call and lie to you. It's not that easy.
it used to be. I've showed Internet Archive on the show before.
Yes, you have.
But yeah, it's as soon as you set it up, now you have to have a login, which I think kind of runs contrary to the mission of Internet Archive, by the way. But it'll go back and it'll show you the date of when that page was created, and then any changes to that page and what date that was on. And in the original posting, you scroll down into it, and there is a link. It's a hyperlink to the owner of Libs of TikTok's realty website where she has her full name, the personal address that's tied to her real estate license, because you can look at the real estate license and find out who it is. And it was 100% in the original article that was taken down, and then they just come out and they fucking lied about it. They're still lying about it.
Take the
It is
hyperlink
still
out.
a sponsor. Yeah, they took the hyperlink out, and it's still a sponsored article on Twitter.
As of this morning. You
As
sent
of
it
this
to me
morning.
Yeah.
Yes. And that,
While they actively deny the fact that they doxed her.
yeah. I can look it up. I just have to now create a
Just
fucking
have to
login
sign in,
apparently.
for the Wayback Machine.
But anyways, it's a thing. Yeah, and it's really interesting to do on all sorts of different articles, just to, because there's articles that you find that were written a year ago, and then you plug that URL into the Internet Archive and you go back to when it was first changed, and you'll see all the different changes that they've done to the article since when it was really published to the date, the current date.
Right.
It's very interesting. But due to this fact, the internet was very, very upset that Taylo Lorenz doxed, like, arguably one of the best, we'll say, conservative-friendly Twitter accounts.
Well, and it had a big influence on the parental rights bill,
Yes.
the big social influence on it, and a lot of other bills like that, showing videos of teachers talking about, how am I going to form close relationship with my students now, and exposing things that I think a lot of people didn't know were going on. If you don't have the time to scroll liberal TikTok all the time, then you wouldn't know about a lot of this stuff that's going on. I don't have time for that shit. I do this show, so everyone knows exactly how much information I have to provide, exactly how much time I spent doing it. I don't have time to scroll liberal TikTok, nor do I even have a TikTok to try and find out what they're talking about. I don't have the time,
It's not good.
But Libs of TikTok does.
Libs of TikTok does. And they do like she does like submissions. Like she asks people to submit things on
Right.
TikTok that they find, and then she approves them or not. And I'm just going to pull up. So this was the reaction to the Washington Post doxing Libs of TikTok. Together with the co-owner of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, Tim Pool and Jeremy Boring put in half 50-50 into a billboard in Times Square that reads, let's wait for it to reset. Timcast. So it says, "Hey, Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. That's why we're shining a light on you." And then I believe it kind of glitches out for a second. "That's why we're shining a light on you. Taylo Lorenz doxed at Libs of TikTok." At Timcast.
At Timcast.
Yeah, nice little signature there on the end.
Yeah. Good.
But, yeah, it's good stuff, man. And then the internet really melted down. Taylo Lorenz took it as a personal attack and became
Good.
obviously very offended and very upset. And there was attacks waged against her family.
Yeah,
And
so how could you do
reportedly-
this to me? It's
do
violence.
this?
This is harassment.
Yes.
It's horrible.
And what do you think you just did to Libs of TikTok? And all we did was tell the world that you lied about what you did. Like we're not being malicious here. We're just trying to shine a light, because democracy dies in darkness, on the lies coming from Washington Post and you personally, Taylo Lorenz.
And
It's so disgusting.
And that's the difference between Elon Musk owning Twitter
Yes.
and Jeff Bezos owning the Washington Post.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
That is the difference. Hence why, benevolent dictator. He's not Jeff Bezos. He's something else. I'm willing to put some money on it.
No, that's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that if you gain, so there's something else we should talk about. If you gain too much influence, then you're now open to be doxxed, is disturbing to me, right? Because now there's all this question
That's
about,
not okay.
oh, well, technically she's a public figure, so her information should really kind of be out there, or it can't really be a doxing because she's a public figure. I mean, even Sagar's saying that on Breaking Points, and he's like, well, she's technically a public figure. I would say she's a public figure because of how vital she's been in the conservative political space. I don't care. She's purposefully keeping herself private.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean because her private account or her secret account or whatever you want to call it has enough influence that now we can provide her personal information. I don't, Are we allowed to know where your home address is because you host a YouTube show?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying to me? Is it's okay if someone wants to provide your home address to me for me to do whatever I want with it? Because I might be fucked up in the head. I might just want to come to your house and just stare at you while you sleep. That's okay if that happens, right? Because you're a public figure. That's crazy. That's backwards thinking.
Yes.
If you're standing on a street corner, you do not have a reasonable right to privacy, 100%, especially if you are a famous person. If you are standing in your home, you have a reasonable right to privacy, regardless of how famous you are.
Yeah.
Right? Certainly, if you're super famous, people are going to find out where you live. That information is going to be known. They're going to see you drive home and shit like that.
Buy your house in an LLC.
If you own a social media account that is very popular, that is not licensed for people to provide your personal information to the internet, that's horrific.
Yeah. And to think otherwise, I think it's just, I don't even want to know where that goes. But there is an argument to be made about, say, naming who it was. Like
could
putting
see
their
that.
actual name. Like that's not, to me, as far as like journalistic ethics goes, I don't think that really crosses the line.
It's not doxing.
Yes.
It's not doxing.
A full doxing. I mean, doxing is when you, like, why is her home address relevant to this?
Right.
Why is her MLS license relevant to who she is as Libs of Tik Tok? It's not at all.
And
You're
you have
doing
to-
this because you want to, quote unquote, cancel them. You want to make sure everybody knows who this person is and that they get shut the fuck down because what they're doing is harmful to you and your worldview. But I can understand from a purely journalistic and, just kind of like truthful ethic. We got to know who people are and what they're doing, I guess. If you're a big public figure like that, I can understand your name alone. I can cross that threshold. But anything more than that, man, is just, it's a violation of your right to privacy.
And it seems to me that doxing, I don't know if this is the technical definition, but personally, it's like things you can't readily find on the internet. And that information, her business license stuff, you have to pay for. You have to pay to get that information. So that's not readily available. You have to pay for it. You have to get behind a paywall to get that information.
Well, and even if you don't have to technically pay for it,
a
lot of public information.
That's what they were saying on
because
castles. They had to pay to get that information.
A public records request, essentially, probably.
Yeah.
And that's, it's like you're not necessarily paying to find out who someone is.
Even
You're just paying to get access to public records for
fees.
Yeah, because if the state licenses individuals to be able to sell houses, they have records of who those people are.
Even then.
Yeah. And that's still, you're crossing like a moral line there that I'm like, just because it is public information doesn't mean you blast those things, man. That just seems like it just adds to the argument that what you're doing is malicious.
Yeah.
It's not good, man. So I'm glad to see Taylo Lorenz getting a few comeuppance. I know Tucker Carlson has been vocal about her in the past, and he is vocal about her once again.
Roaster,
bro. Because honestly, she deserves to be roasted, man. If you're somebody that is willing to expose somebody's home address and their business license, go fuck yourself, man.
You're a piece of shit.
You're a piece of shit. So I'm glad to see it, for one, and I don't think it's going to stop her though. I don't think.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
She
she's just
feels
getting more and more
vindicated
followers.
Because, now Timcast has targeted her.
Yeah.
So she has to continue to do what she's doing because she's fighting against the forces of evil, of Timcast.
Yeah.
So, because Timcast is just horrible. It's horrific.
So bad.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
Tim Pool is an evil son of a bitch. One to make a piece of land called Freedomistan. He's a horrible piece of shit, Timcast.
Yeah. Creator of the YouTube sensation Chicken City.
It's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous, and yet
Tim Pool is targeting
so
me.
awesome.
It's ridiculous. I can't. Tim Pool and Jeremy Boring, who's so Jewish, he wears a fucking key around his neck all of the time.
He's a Christian.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
What's the fucking key about then?
I
thought the key was a Jewish thing.
No, it's like a Christian thing. I had to Google it once upon a time, and it's like some kind of Christian deal, but.
Correct me. So religious, he wears a key around his neck.
There
I thought
you
it
go.
was a
There you
Jewish
go.
thing, but I'm here for it because I remember there is a sect of Judaism, whether it be Hasidic or what do they call that?
there's a bunch of sects, man. I don't know,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
get
yeah.
deep. The Orthodox, the
That's what-
Hasidics,
Orthodox.
and,
So that, like, they wear a key. They can't do work, on Saturdays, right? And so one of the things is, like, you can't carry things like a burden, and so they don't have keys in their pockets. They'll wear it on a string, like on their pants or around their neck. And so that's what I assumed that it was that he was like, I'm mad Jewy, so I wear this key around my neck.
the immortal key. Yeah, see, I don't have time to get into that.
No.
You got to do some digging, but
Either way, he's
either way.
mad religious, and
Hardcore.
he wears a key around his neck relating to the religion.
Yes.
We're still split at Soul of the Streets whether or not it's a Jew thing or a Christian thing, but we'll find out and we'll get back to you on it. But
because I feel like
I'm sure you're right.
they've joked about it a few times on backstage, like. They've got a Jewish guy, they've got a Christian guy, they've got a Catholic guy,
Okay.
and they have a reformed Jewish guy, and that's in Andrew Clavin. He used to be Jewish, and now he's like Christian or whatever. Michael Knows is like the Catholic guy, and it's a whole deal.
He's religious as fuck. It's really what the point is.
Yes.
So I don't think that they're targeting Taylo Lorenz to try and get her family hurt. It's
No, man.
really what I'm getting at, regardless of what the religion
This is 100% about journalistic ethics.
Yeah.
And the holding of an institution accountable for the damage that they do, because the institutions generally are protected because of their size, and so you get individuals in there that write hit pieces, that do, terrible smear pieces and stories and that are just spread blatant falsehoods and stuff like this. But they're protected by the institutional power of the institution that they work for, and this is the first time in a while that an institution is incapable of defending itself or its employee as some form of institutional power has decided to band together and fight back. And they don't like that. It's the first time they've had their shit kicked in a very long time. And even though it's just a stupid little billboard in Times Square, and I'm kind of questionable about where it is in Times Square, just looking, because I've been in Times Square so many times, I'm like, well, where exactly is it? It's not like one of the big main ones. They got this thing on the cheap, I think, comparatively, but it's still, it's there. And it's there. That is an institutional attack against another institution, and I'm here for it, man. I am here for it because journalism has been so bad over the last decade, essentially. People can argue it goes back forever, and who knows, but it is objectively worse today than it has ever been in history, and at least in America. And to see somebody finally fight back against an institution that claims to be, the protector of democracy and truth.
Democracy dies in darkness.
It's finally about time that somebody is able to fight back. And I'm a huge fucking fan of it. I love it. Taylo Lorenz, man. Go back, read some of those articles if you have a VPN, so you don't have to pay for the subscriptions. But, if you have to pay for a VPN to do that, they're not worth reading. But they are just terrible. I think I told you last night too, the commentary boys have talked about him a few times back, in the Saurabh Mamari days, back when he was on there. There's been a few times that her name has come up for hit pieces that she's written. But fuck her. That's where I'm at. I'm not into it. Screw her.
So the last topic that we have here in the grab bag is one that I found late, right? It is this Missouri. They're calling it a gender-affirming care ban for adults.
Missouri lawmakers consider extending proposed ban on. So they're considering extending proposed ban.
So we'll read part of this article here. This is from The Hill. The Hill's pretty good. Missouri lawmakers this week, while debating a bill seeking to restrict access to gender-affirming care for minors, suggested access to medical interventions like hormones be withheld from transgender and non-binary individuals until at least their 25th birthday. During a public hearing Thursday for Missouri's House Bill 2649, Lori Haynes, a psychologist, testified that she believes young adults under the age of 25 are unable to fully comprehend the dramatic and drastic and irreparable changes their bodies will undergo if they receive gender-affirming medical treatments like puberty blockers or hormone therapies. Haynes on Thursday also said she supported conversion therapy. I will obviously look more into this as the grab bag topic. It's something that came up very, very late. So this medical research has suggested that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible, I say that, I want to pause for a second. I say that about the conversion therapy because people also tie Tulsi Gabbard to conversion therapy because like her dad did that or whatever, and stuff like that. So just so I don't know that that's true about this woman, and I have not read her comments, nor have I read this bill. But this is an article that I saw someone that I follow on Instagram that I went to school with, who identifies as like non-binary or some such shit, shared this, and it had obviously been adjusted because it said the wrong state in the article, that it said that it was Arkansas originally, and I tried to look that up, and that's not a thing. This is happening in Missouri, not Arkansas. So the image had obviously been adjusted, which seems very weird because this is happening in one state, but not the one they talked about. So
that's such a weird thing to get wrong.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Medical research has suggested that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive function like decision making, is not fully developed until roughly the age of 25. Currently, the bill, which is officially titled the Save Adolescents from Experimentation Act, or the SAFE Act, only applies...
Acronyms.
They're good, man. They're good. Only applies to individuals younger than 18 years old. Missouri physicians and healthcare providers under the bill would be prevented from providing or recommending gender-affirming care to patients who are minors. On Thursday, Representative Nick Schroer argued that the legislature had previously invoked brain maturity in deciding whether the state should raise the age for being charged as an adult in criminal cases from 17 to 18. Excuse me. The brains of especially males are still developing into their 20s, and I don't understand why that's not part of the discussion here. It's an argument made by lawmakers and officials in other conservative states, and Florida's health department this week said gender-affirming care in any form, including social transition, should not be made available to children younger than 18 years old, citing brain maturity. Other research has found gender-affirming interventions can improve the mental health and well-being of transgender and non-binary people into adulthood. No shit, we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Yep.
A recent study published in the Journey of American Medicine. So that's fine. There's another article that I have here that I can send to you if you want, that has an interview with a person named Lawrence, who served in the military and now lives in Missouri and is 23 and will be unable to transition under this law. So that's the reason that I wanted to bring it up, because we've talked about this before. I think we've both agreed that under 18 is not a good idea as far as medical transition goes. I don't think it's up to the parents whether or not you want to socially transition your child. I obviously believe that parents should be deeply involved in all of this. But let's see, this is from the person named Lawrence. At 23 years old, Lawrence is a veteran sergeant of the U.S. military and holds a bachelor's degree in English language and literature from Webster University in Missouri, for which he was permitted as a teenager to borrow thousands of dollars from the government. But I'm still not developed enough to decide what name and pronouns I want to use. It just doesn't add up. In an interview, Lawrence said he feels as though his journey differs from the typical transgender narrative, and growing up he didn't mind wearing dresses and had similar interests to those of his sisters, but something always felt off. So anyway, he enlisted when he was 17, and he found or realized at 19 that he was transgender and identifies as such, right? So he's been in the military. He's served in the military. He's a veteran. He's a sergeant, and he's an adult, and he could potentially not be allowed to do what he wants with his own body. So that's why I wanted to bring this up with you, because this to me crosses a line. If you're old enough not only to serve in the military, but to buy cigarettes, to buy alcohol, to buy a gun, to do all the things except transition to a different gender. Why is this the line that we're setting? If they're not able to make executive decisions until they're 25, then why are they allowed to drink, smoke, or join the military before that?
Yeah.
So I struggle to understand the justification for this if we're allowing all of these other things except for this. This strikes me as an obviously partisan thing to be going after. So I wanted to get your take on it, obviously.
Yeah, my take is essentially this. Not into it. Like, I understand people's concern, because I do understand that, like, the brain the brain's adult age is not 18 like ours is. Like our legislative adult age is 18. Like, that's not, biology's going to do what biology's going to do. If it takes that long, to have a fully formed prefrontal cortex. That's how long it takes, man. Like, I don't understand what we're talking about here. That's just what it is. If the law is at 18, you are an adult. You are responsible as an adult. Therefore, legally, you just get to do whatever it is that is legal in the United States at that point. Like whatever you can do as an adult, you can do. And by denying somebody gender affirming care until 25, that
Right.
it's kind of, it's definitely not as arbitrary as this, but like, you can't rent a car until you're 25. Like why is that the case?
Right.
Is there studies backing that? I'd be interested to know why they picked 25. Maybe it's just statistics and, you know how fucking driving insurance and stuff works. But, if maybe that's just a total coincidence that 25 lines up there. But I don't know what we're talking about.
26
You're
in
an
insurance.
adult, man. You are a full grown adult that can go to jail for the rest of your life for fucking up bad enough. Why can you not have gender affirming surgery? If that's what you want to do and you have the ability to do it, then this crosses the line to me. This is not, I might have my own personal beliefs in whether or not it's a good or bad idea,
Right.
but I don't, you do you, man.
And I'm
gal.
stuck on I'm stuck on the military aspect, right? That at 18 you can enlist and we can ask you to discern whether or not you should kill or not kill a civilian or a combatant from 100, 200, 300 yards away. But we're not going to let you decide what you want to do with your own genitals.
Yeah.
That seems ridiculous to me. It's already ridiculous enough, the drinking thing, that you can,
Yes.
the same thing that you can decide whether or not you should kill or not kill another human being at 18 years old.
Yep.
And we're totally fine with that. But you should not buy a 6-pack of beer when you come home.
Yeah,
that
you
is
can't
fucked up
do
and
that.
wrong. It's
You're a bad
morally
person.
wrong. That's very weird to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have big issue with this, and I think this is a good, especially for liberty-minded people. This is a good crossing point to in general discussion to display people. Like I'm not on board with this. I'm not anti-trans. I'm not on board with this. I'm not on board with taking people's rights away.
Yeah.
But I want children to be protected because they don't have the ability to comprehend and consent.
Yeah.
Right. But like you said, if we've decided that at 18 you have the ability to comprehend and consent, then that should be the baseline for all of this stuff. We shouldn't wait 3 more years. I don't know how much more mature I was when I was 21 before I was 18.
Yeah.
I don't think there was that big of a difference.
I don't know if I was, I might have been less mature at 21.
There's a good,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's good potential for that. So yeah, I'm very bothered by this.
Well, let me ask you a question then, because essentially we're talking about an argument about your prefrontal cortex being like a line of some kind.
Right.
Like, what are your thoughts on, why is the arbitrary date of being 18 a legal adult? Maybe it should be 25.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I don't know. I don't know when 18 was decided. I don't know enough about the legal history of that to know when the age of 18 was decided to be legit. Because it seems odd. It seemed maybe just because that's when you graduate high school. I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure that had something to do with it.
It probably did. Yeah.
Suppose.
I mean, it's a corollary that one could make.
So
It's coincidence.
So I don't know, but yeah, I'm disturbed by it.
Yeah.
This to me crosses a line into a grown adult's individual liberties to, like I said, control and autonomy over their own body. That's not.
I mean, if we're gonna do you go to jail forever at 18, then you could do whatever you want at 18, man.
I'd be curious if you could get an abortion at 18 years old in Missouri. You know what I'm saying? If you can get an abortion, you're gonna tell me you can't decide what you want to do with your own body? That seems weird to me.
Yeah, I'm not into it, man. I don't quite. And I don't like it when people make these convoluted arguments when they're talking about, what essentially is a transgender affirming surgery. It's already tied to, people under 18. Why is it now all of a sudden you're going to try to tie it to another age? That really, it's kind of like your bias is showing, dude. I mean, you're talking about legal adults here, and you're saying, actually, well, at that case, you're making an argument that the age of adulthood shouldn't be till 25, because if you can't consent to gender affirming surgery after you're a legal adult, what are you actually talking about? You're just saying that you can't do that until I'm, a biological adult. That's the argument you're making. Is you're
Right.
At 25, you're an adult because your prefrontal cortex is fully formed. Well, if that's then what else are we not doing until we're 25? That's what you need to talk about, is when you're a legal adult. Because right now you're telling a certain sect of people that are legal adults that they cannot. How would I tie that to that? They can't perform something that is within their complete, constitutional right to do.
Right.
Like that doesn't make any sense at all. Your bias is showing, and it makes me not trust your argument anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there's an argument to be had about the entire issue. We'll just say it doesn't matter how old you are, but it's a shame.
So that is all I have as far as the grab bag goes. I have a little bit of sports that we can hit, and then we can go. So if you're ready, then we can.
I'm ready for. I just tried to make my
so
4
sorry.
in there.
I'm so sorry.
It works.
We can do it again.
It's okay. I'm over it, to be honest.
No, so just some quick hits on sports. The draft is going on right now, the NFL draft, obviously. And so there was 2 kind of big trades that happened in the first round. A.J. Brown from the Tennessee Titans got traded to the Eagles. And Hollywood Brown from the Baltimore Ravens got traded to Arizona. So Arizona's wide receiver core is absolutely insane now. They have A.J. Green, they have DeAndre Hopkins, they have Hollywood Brown, they have Rondale Moore. It is absolutely insane.
It's a powerhouse. They're building something.
Yes, that's Arizona wants a ring right now. And
Yeah.
if you think about who is left in that division, right? The Seahawks are an absolute wash, so that's done for. But you have San Francisco, who looks like they're trying to do something or they're trying to rebuild. They're not sure yet. And then LA. LA just won the Super Bowl. They're an absolute fucking powerhouse.
Yeah.
So if Arizona wants to win, they have to win right now. They've got to take the ring right now and build a better squad than LA and go for it. So I think that's what they're going for. So I'm interested to see what Arizona does this year. They're going to absolutely fucking mollywop the Seahawks. It's going to be disgusting to watch. Yes. So
a mollywop.
Mollywop is a dick slap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
That's like a throwback term. Jordan's going to hear that and she's going to say, "Oh, that's hilarious." Yeah, mollywop. So
must be a Bremerton thing. I don't know.
it's got to be a yeah, I'm sure. And then we can go over the Seahawks draft picks really quick because they actually made some draft picks this year. In round 1, they actually picked in the first round, and they picked an offensive tackle.
Whoa!
I know. It's like they're actually trying to improve
That seems
the team.
like a good investment.
It's like they're actually trying to improve the team. So they picked an offensive tackle from Mississippi State, Charles Cross, who actually looks like he's going to be very good. First round, obviously, number 9 overall. Round 2, they picked Boye Mafe, a linebacker from Minnesota. 7 sacks in 2021. He looks good. And then the second pick in round 2, Kenneth Walker III. He's a running back from Michigan State. We're trying to obviously get some shit going. So let's see, round 3, Abraham Lucas, an offensive tackle from Washington State. I like that. Round 4, Kobe Bryant, a cornerback from Cincinnati. Round 5, Tariq Woolen, a corner from Texas San Antonio. Round 5, Tyreek Smith, a DN from Ohio State. Round 7, Bo Melton, a wide receiver from Rutgers. Another round 7, Derek Young, a wide receiver from Lenore Rhine. I've never even heard of
Lenore Rhine?
Yeah. So there you go. 2022 is shaping up nicely. And we will see how it goes.
I always do like those, like the draft picks that come from schools that you're like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
Because that means they probably don't have like an epic football program going on there, but obviously he caught the eye of somebody, so he might be somebody to watch.
And that's why that's where we shine the most.
Yeah.
Is between like rounds 3 and 5. We get real talent. John Schneider and Pete Carroll traditionally have been very good at finding talent in later rounds. So we got most of the Legion of Boom, is in the late rounds.
Yeah.
So
I am curious about how that offensive tackle is going to work.
yeah.
God, if there's one thing the Seahawks have always needed is a strong O-line.
And we got 2 tackles. So I'm very interested to see how that works out. So
How often do people pick up like an offensive tackle for their first round draft pick?
It's pretty common, but there's only like a couple usually. There's not a ton of them that are out there. There's a few that are very good, usually coming from SEC schools. So him coming from
SEC is a college division.
Southeastern Conference, yeah.
Okay.
So him coming from Mississippi State, that's good. That's a good thing.
Exciting.
Yeah.
We need a good year, man.
Yes. Do you have anything else that you want to throw into this?
No?
Cool. I'm
No, I
not trying to
think
rush.
we're
I
good.
have to pee so bad. That is
We'll
what
hit
I
it. We'll quit it, baby.
So the closing line that I have this week is actually from Ronald Reagan's remarks on the East-West relations at the Brandenburg Gate in West Berlin.
Interesting.
Yes, this is from 1987.
That's the year I was born.
Well, there you go. Happy birthday, Colin. And yesterday was Trenton's birthday, so happy birthday.
Happy
Trenton.
birthday, Trenton.
Yes. So let's see here. In West Germany and here in Berlin, there took place an economic miracle. the Worcester Schaffwunder. Adenauer, Erhard, and Reuter and other leaders understood the practical importance of liberty. That just as truth can flourish only when the journalist is given freedom of speech, so prosperity can come about only when the farmer and businessman enjoy economic freedom.
Amen to that. That's good. The farmer and the businessman.
Exactly.
I'm into it.
So with that, I want to thank everyone. You guys have a fantastic weekend.
Yes.
We will see you
Please
later.
do. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat everything.